Well, I got to introduce somebody real quick that I'm excited. I got a chance, Bob, to listen to you the first time last month when we were here, and that was probably one of the best training sessions on the product I've ever heard, so I'm excited about hearing you again. Bob is a board-certified internal medicine physician. He graduated from Tufts College, or medical school in Boston, Massachusetts. He's been in the proactive wellness space for over 50 years, and I can't wait to hear what you've got to say, so help me welcome Dr. Bob Green.
Now, Samson told me I had a maximum of 30 minutes. I get into it. I do these calls on Monday nights, and the first one I did, it was an hour and a half. And somebody on the East Coast said, "My God, it's almost midnight here. I'm exhausted, but I'm so excited I can't sleep." Anyway, 30 minutes. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and share the products. That's my role today, the products. Because after all, this is a great company, but the reason why it has gone from 0 to 150 million in sales in just 22 months is the products. If the products were garbage, the whole thing would have fallen apart, no matter how good the management was. So, I am a board-certified internist and started practicing in 1971, before many of you were born. And when I started practicing, I was always oriented towards proactive wellness, vitamins, supplements, fiber, minerals, acupuncture, Zen, meditation, all those kinds of wonderful, quote, alternative methods of practice. And in Westchester County, New York, which is where I had a big practice, I got a reputation as sort of the natural MD, the natural internist. And my patients loved it, and my fellow board-certified physicians in my community thought I was a quack. Why did they think I was a quack? Because if it's not FDA approved, it's garbage. Well, that was 1971, and most people were thinking about that, including at Tufts Medical School, which is a prestigious medical school in Boston where I graduated from. Fast forward 50 years, most medical school curriculums have courses on nutrition and meditation and acupuncture and supplements and health and all kinds of alternative things that are now becoming proactive wellness. Folks, the space is huge, anywhere between $300 billion. I mean, it's just absolutely huge as more and more people understand the power of these products. So, over the years, I have gotten a lot of calls from people who are in network marketing companies, and they say, "Oh, Dr. Green, we heard you're into proactive wellness. I want you to look at this company and these products." And I would always say, "Show me the studies." And there were no studies, and they would say, "There are no studies." And I'd say, "Okay, well, call me back when you have some studies." And that kept going on. The last one was a lady who called me about stem cells. Well, those of you, let me tell you, stem cells are going to revolutionize the way we practice things, but it's still very early. So there's probably another 5 or 10 years before it really gets going. Anyway, I said, "Show me the studies." There are no studies. When I got approached by Sally Chung about this, I said, "Show me the studies." She showed me the studies. My God, Dr. Dan has got studies. And not only has he got studies, but they are third party, and now they're peer reviewed. That means that other physicians, other groups have looked at this science that Dr. Dan has done, his results, and have given their stamp of approval on it. That is huge. If you go to any kind of health professional and say that this company has third-party studies that are peer-reviewed, that's a big aha, a big positive. So I looked at it, and as soon as I did some research and some reading, as Dr. Lena said, about what the studies were, looked at them carefully, I said to Sally, "I'm in. I don't even need to try the products." Why? Because I could tell from the science point of view that this was the real deal. And then I tried the products, and of course the rest is history. As you've heard from people today, the products are amazing. So the products drive the business. And when I present this to people and they say, "Oh, I got to take the products first and see if it works." See if it works. Now I know it works, but they don't know it works But here's the beautiful thing. 90% of the people who try these products for up to a month love them and put their other products, like Fotine was talking about the collagen powder that she's been taking, off to the side, because these products really do work. And the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the results. And when you get the kind of testimonials you've got here, and wait till I tell you about some of the other testimonials that are coming down the pike from some of these 6 products. There's only 6 products that we put in our mouth, and then we've got 4 wonderful Visage products that we put on our skin. But when you hear the testimonials about what people are getting up and saying, it's incredible. Let me just tell you a few more general things. As many of you know, the FDA does not spend any time or effort regulating vitamins and supplements, all right? So as a result, it's the wild, wild west out there. There are lots of companies, hundreds if not thousands of supplement makers that are making garbage. There's no quality control, there's all kinds of additives, there's all kinds of toxic stuff in it. You don't know what you're getting. A lot of it is made in Asia and China, brought over here. A nice fancy label is slapped on. Hundreds of millions of dollars of advertising. Now it's in GNC. Now it's in the vitamin shop, and you think you're getting good stuff. Well, our products, number one, Dr. Dan is the creator of them, as you've heard. They're made here in the USA. They're made at 3 plants that are FDA approved manufacturing plants. The products are not FDA approved, but the manufacturing plants are approved with certification. You know you're getting top quality stuff. That's amazing in terms of knowing and having some faith in the fact that the products are really pure. But again, the results are what is the real proof of the pudding. So with that, let me get into some of these products, and then I'll share with you some more stuff. So the first one is Vitalite. Vitalite is super. It is basically the cornerstone of the whole program. Dr. Dan calls it the Superfood Blend and Multivitamin Complex. It's a blend of superfoods, including chlorophyll. It's a blend of super berries. There are 10 different types of berries in there that are great in terms of antioxidant, in terms of decreasing inflammation. There are probiotics in it. Those are good bacteria. We've got 100 million live bacteria in the Vitalite. We've got pancreatic enzymes in it, lipase, amylase, protease. What do those do? Those help to in terms of digestion and absorption, so it's important. We've got omega-3 and 6 and 7 and 9. Those are important in terms of decreasing inflammation. And then we've got 72 different trace minerals in it and vitamins. And what are those for? The 72 trace minerals turn on enzymes, and the amino acids that are in it are the cornerstone of protein synthesis. Now, the important thing here is these are all natural as opposed to synthetic. If you follow the medical literature and you follow what's going on in terms of some of these medical websites, there's a whole big buzz now about can some of the synthetic vitamins harm us rather than hurt us. These are all natural. So Vitalite is great. What's the number one thing you get from Vitalite? Energy. People talk about energy. I'm the living example. I'm going to be 79 and I've got cancer. Come on, Grip. I have a cancer. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I have a disease called multiple myeloma. It's a bone marrow cancer. All of you have plasma cells. We all have plasma cells in our bone marrow, and they make things called immunoglobulins, IgG, IgA, IgM. We need those in terms of developing antibodies. With this cancer I've got, my plasma cells go bonko and just produce way more immunoglobulins that I need. And as a result, kidneys get clogged up and people die. Unfortunately, there is no cure yet for multiple myeloma. However, I am getting what's called immunotherapy, not chemotherapy, immunotherapy. These are monoclonal antibodies that I get infused into me once a month down in LA. And basically my disease, which was up here, is now in remission. However, there's no cure. So it's just a question of time when it starts coming back. So I'm 79 now, and I told my oncologist, I go once a month into LA for this immunotherapy. I said, listen, if I make it another 20 years, I'll be 99. He laughed. He said, Green, the rate you're going in terms of how much energy you have and how much vitality you have at almost 79, you're amazing. You're probably the star in my practice. And I said, awesome. Doc, you got to get on these products. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so, you know, the one reason why I am so energetic is because of the vitality. So that's the cornerstone. It's good for the eyes, it's good for the heart, it's good for the brain. If you take just one of the products, take vitality. Great product. The next product I want to talk about is Revive. Revive was created by Dr. Dan as the restorer. It's supposed to basically help your joints to get back to equilibrium. This is for people who go to the gym and work out or do what I call weekend warrior stuff, which is basically move boulders in the backyard or cut the grass or cut down trees. You come in and you're achy and you do things that you don't normally do. You take some Revive and it's basically supposed to restore you back to homeostasis, okay? It's got curcumin in it. It's got boswellia in it. It's got black cumin oil in it. It's got shiitake mushrooms in it. It's got grapeseed extract in it. It's got sea buckhorn elixir. It's a wonderful, and it's also got piperine and menthol in it to help get the curcumin absorbed in the gut. The important thing is that it works. As you've heard from testimonials today, people have great experience with pain. Now, I have to tell you that the FDA comes down hard on supplement companies like us if you start making health claims. So Dr. Dan and the staff have to be very careful in terms of what they say. You can't make health claims. But when you get individual people up here who talk about their own personal testimony, that's amazing. So with Revive, besides having all the things you've heard today, people who have migraines, people who have osteoarthritis, bone-on-bone joints problems, low back pain, frozen shoulders, rotator cuff tears, things like that. It's just an amazing product. In fact, a lot of people call it phytonutrient Advil. Think about that, phytonutrient Advil, because it's all plant-based, it's all natural. Oh, and speaking of that, let me just give you a little rundown on this. I can't remember all these things. So one of the things that make our products so great are there are no artificial ingredients, colors, flavors, additives, gluten, casein, wheat, dairy, soy, corn, nuts, oats, binders, or fillers. Yep. I could never remember that, so that's right. And the other exciting thing to think about is what are these products all about? Dr. Dan, quote from him, "We traveled the world to find unique, powerful molecules and carefully develop them into products designed to support your health and longevity." So it's all about finding molecules that basically are going to be good for you. That's part of the process that Lance talked about with exploration curation. The curation is finding out if it works or if it doesn't. So Revive is a absolutely great product. The next one I want to talk about is collagen. Well, collagen is wonderful. Why? Because it's pure marine collagen. It's not powder. You can go to Costco and buy a big tub of collagen flakes and mix it up in water for 22 bucks, and basically it's garbage. And you wind up peeing out most of it anyway. With our cellular absorption technology, the absorption, which I want to get into in a minute, is so much better than anything out on the market. And when you see the numbers, you'll just be blown away. So this collagen is wonderful, but it's got in it hyaluronic acid. Now, hyaluronic acid is the same stuff that physicians inject into joints. It's called Synvisc. That's the commercial name. If you have osteoarthritis and you're facing a total knee replacement, very often the orthopedists or the pain management people will inject Synvisc or hyaluronic acid into your joints. It works. As you heard from Fotine, she said her joints are amazing. It's also got biotin in it, it's got keratin in it. It's not only good for your skin, and your joints, and your back, but it's also good for your hair and your nails. So it's a wonderful product. Each pouch of the collagen has 5 grams of murine collagen. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is Immune. Dr. Dan developed this product called Immune. As you may know, the immunity in our system, a good part of it comes from our gut. We have good bacteria and bad bacteria. If you go to the store and buy yogurt, very often it says so many hundreds of millions or billions of cultures of lactobacillus. That's one of the good bacteria that we need in our gut. Well, this Immune basically is a product that has something that Dr. Dan calls quorum sensing. What's quorum sensing? It's an ability of this product to help disrupt the communication between bad bacteria. We've got E. coli in our gut that are, as Dr. Dan says, they talk to each other, and then we've got good bacteria, and you want to basically disrupt the communication between the bad bacteria so that the lactobacillus and the other good bacteria can basically be more effective for you. So that's called quorum sensing. But in addition to that, it's got quercetin in it, and it's got reishi mushrooms in it, and it's got nanosilver, which is a natural antibiotic, and it's got vitamin C in it. So this is a great product, basically in terms of helping your immune system. Now, Dr. Dan talks about the fact that we've got 2 types of immune response. One is called the innate immunity, which basically helps us deal with viruses and bacteria that we're facing now. And then the second thing he talks about is adaptive immunity, which means we're going to have some protection against viruses and bacteria to come. So this is called Immune. And the testimonials that people get up and say, I had a cold, I had a flu, I took double the strength of Immune normally I take 2 capsules a day. Now I'm taking 4 when I'm sick, and it's amazing how quickly I have resolved my upper respiratory or my infection. Again, you can't make claims on this, but these are what the people get up and talk about. The next one is Purify. I love Purify. Purify basically is a check on our system. We have 5 organs of detoxification. What is detoxification? It's getting rid of heavy metals and pollutants and bad things that accumulate in our body that we either ingest or we breathe in or get on our skin. So these pollutants are not good for us. Purify helps to get rid of it. So what Purify does is it stimulates or makes stronger the 5 current organs of detoxification. Your liver, your lungs, your colon, your kidney, and also your skin. So basically this product gets your system in terms of detoxification better. But it's also loaded with chlorophyll, and it's got something called humic shale extract, which has got fulvic acid in it, which is known to be a wonderful agent to help get toxins out of your body. And again, the whole thing is to eliminate toxins that accumulate that you really have no control over. I mean, I was watching the fires on the West Coast the other day, thinking about all the pollutants and all the stuff in the air and thinking, oh, those poor people, they're just breathing it in and all things like that. In addition to that, it's got coriander leaf, it's got dandelion root, it's also got apple pectin and kelp in it as well. So it's a product that Dr. Dan has developed to basically help us detoxify. Now, here's the testimonials. People who take Purify, they think not only are they detoxifying themselves, but guess what? It helps irritable bowel syndrome. I don't know if any of you have experience with that or have family with it, but that's a condition where your gut basically is in spasm, irritable bowel, just like it sounds. And this product helps people who have that. It also helps people who have constipation, but it's not a laxative, so it's not going to put you in the bathroom all day long, something like that. It also helps people who have asthma. People who have asthma get up and talk about how my asthma is much less severe, I'm having less frequent attacks. Think about it, it makes sense, because a lot of the asthmatic response is what you're experiencing in relation to toxins. That's why when it's a high air alert day, or poor air alert day, and everybody's supposed to stay inside, asthmatics need to stay inside, people with COPD need to stay inside, because that kind of toxin in the air causes problems for you. So that's Purify. Eternal is the antioxidant master. What's an antioxidant? An antioxidant prevents us from developing, it neutralizes the free radicals that form in our body. What's a free radical? A free radical is a molecule that does not have a charge. Atoms have positive, negative charges. This one has no charges, but it's very active, and what it does is it causes a problem with the cells in the body. So if you have a lot of free radicals, over time you have much higher risk of developing serious stuff like cancer, heart disease, immunological problems. It's not a good thing to have free radicals. So this basically gets rid of free radicals. And it's wonderful because it's got CoQ10 in it. Now everybody's heard of CoQ10. That is an antioxidant. However, ours is absorbed 3 times better than anybody else's, again, because our cellular absorption technology. It's also got resveratrol in it. Resveratrol is an antioxidant that's in red wine. There's 200 milligrams of resveratrol in each package of the Eternal, but the big daddy, the big one, is glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant, probably the most powerful. So this combination also besides free radicals, neutralizing free radicals, it prevents us or protects us from exposure to UV radiation in the sun. So that's Eternal. It's supposed to be something to basically make you healthy, keep your cells better, age properly, longer life, okay? Here's what the response is. People get up and say, it helps me sleep, and it gives me more energy. And the most exciting thing was a couple of weeks ago when 4 menopausal women were on a Wellness Wednesday session, and each one of them was crowing about how this product, Eternal, gets rid of their menopausal symptoms. Wow. No more irritability, no more sweating, no more hot flashes, no more sleep disturbances. I mean, they were crowing about Eternal for menopausal women. Stop and think how many hundreds of millions of women are out there who are suffering from menopausal symptoms, who are going to physicians to get estrogen and progesterone and all kinds of things, drugs. And if we can get the word out that this does what these 4 women claimed it did for them, that's a home run. Just in terms of the business, first off, in terms of the doing good things, Dr. Lena, and making people feel better with natural products, but from a dollars and cents point of view, if you're in the business, the demand just is huge. So that is Eternal. And then finally is the newest product. That's Visage. Visage is very exciting. Visage is, by the way, Visage, V-I-S-A-G-E, is French for face, because this is a preparate. There's 4 products in the Visage collection, as it's called. You put it on your face and you put it on your neck, and it does wonderful things. Now, Dr. Dan likes to say, when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you look good. But here's the skinny on what it actually does. So you put Visage serum on your face, and what it does is it stimulates nerves in your skin that send signals to your brain, and what happens? Neurotransmitters are released by your brain. What's a neurotransmitter? A neurotransmitter is basically a substance that's manufactured in the brain or released by the brain to help the body. The 3 neurotransmitters that Dr. Dan has shown before and after, meaning he shows it at one level, you use Visage, and then he does blood levels and gets a higher level. So the levels are actually going up, and you can substantiate this in his studies, are serotonin, and dopamine and DHEA. Serotonin. Well, you may be aware that people who are depressed don't have enough serotonin. It makes you perky and bright and shiny and smiling and energetic and focused, all the positive things. So physicians write prescriptions for drugs that increase the level of serotonin in the system. Well, here we've got a neurotransmitter, serotonin, that's being released as a result of you putting on a skincare product. That's amazing. So you want serotonin and it increases it. I love serotonin. You're gonna love serotonin because it's gonna make you perkier, brighter, sharper, more energetic, all the positive things you can think about. As opposed to the other spectrum, which is what depressed people have when they don't have enough serotonin: down, depressed, sad, all that kind of stuff. The second neurotransmitter that Dr. Dan has shown is released from this visage is dopamine. What's dopamine? Dopamine is a substance in our body that we need so that we can walk better, that we can be more fluid, that we can think better. If you don't have enough dopamine in your body, you develop a disease called Parkinson's. You may have seen people who have Parkinson's. They walk like this with a shuffle, and they have cogwheel rigidity when they try to do something. The most famous person who has Parkinson's is Michael J. Fox. He's got Parkinson's, and I must say, on his effort alone, they've raised hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to try to figure out a cure for Parkinson's. But if you've got dopamine being secreted, a neurotransmitter, by your brain into your system, here's what happens. And this is for normal people who don't have Parkinson's. You are even more fluid. You are even more agile. You're thinking clearer. We talk about dopamine with the 3 M's: movement, making you more agile and more flexible. We talk about mood, making you brighter and sharper, and motivation, making you more focused. So the fact that you have more dopamine released from your brain as a result of this visage is incredible. And then the third neurotransmitter is DHEA, which stands for dihydroepiandrosterone, which is a long word, but basically what it does is it helps you with your mood and your focus. DHEA is produced in the adrenal gland, but it's also released by the brain. So these 3 neurotransmitters make all the difference in the world in terms of how you're going to feel when you use visage. But a lot of people say, I don't care about that. I just know that it makes me look gorgeous. So there's 4 products in the visage collection. The first is called Cleanse, which is a wonderful product that basically opens your pores and gets rid of all kinds of impurities on your face. The second product is called Toner, which basically you spray on your face and it sets up your pores to receive the third part of the package called the special serum, which is the one that's got this neurocosmetic effect and basically makes you feel good, and it occurs very quickly. It's not like you have to put skin stuff on and wait a month or 2 to see results, usually within a few minutes to a few hours. And there's no retinol in it. Retinol is a very commonly used chemical that's in skin preparations. It's wonderful in terms of making you look good. The problem with retinol is this photosensitivity, so you can't go out in the sun. There are also a lot of people who have adverse reactions to retinol. There's no retinol in visage. It's 100% pure. It's made up of primarily 4 plants who have names so long I can never pronounce them, so I don't even go into it, but you can look on it. But it's a wonderful product. And then here's the creme de la creme. In fact, that's funny, it's called creme de la creme, because the 4th addition to the visage product collection was just introduced in Hong Kong last week or 2 weeks ago, and that's called creme caviar. That's a moisturizer. That's the 4th part of this visage. And I gotta tell you, it's wonderful. I love it. You put it on twice a day, and this creme caviar, this moisturizer, the reason it's called caviar, by the way, is because Dr. Dan found this plant in Japan called the caviar plant. But you put this on, people describe it like butter on your face, But not only does it make you look great, but it's also got the neurocosmetic effect that the serum has in terms of releasing those neurotransmitters. Now this Visage collection is patent pending, so Dr. Dan's got it locked up for us, and it's really, really effective. And it's so effective, it sells out like crazy. So that's Visage, and as more and more people hear about Visage, they're going to get more and more excited. So you heard my lovely wife Vivi talk about macular degeneration. Well, macular degeneration, for those of you that don't know, is a disease that we're all going to be facing as we get older. It's degeneration or atrophy of the macula. The macula is part of the retina in the back of your eyeball. And unfortunately, some of us get it more severe than others. It comes in two forms. You may have relatives who have it, or friends, or maybe you guys have it, dry form and wet form. So I subscribe to macular degeneration research. And in this issue, the spring 2025 issue, catch this, it's talking about inflammation could be an early contributor to macular degeneration, leading to damage and functional loss in the RPE. That's the retinal pigment epithelium. That's part of the macula. This insight may pave the way for future treatments that would suppress inflammation to protect the retina. Suppress inflammation, vitality, and revive. Because in the epigenetic study that Lance touched on but didn't go into too much detail, and Samson, I know I gotta stop, but I'm into a roll here. Let me just, the other thing that they point about, ready for this? Here's another quote. Promising treatments are emerging, including, ready? A high-dose antioxidant vitamin formula to slow the progression of macular degeneration. That's Eternal. I mean, talk about being at the right place at the right time. So very quickly, because otherwise I'm going to get the hook. Okay, there's an epigenetic study that Dr. Dan did that makes us worlds over any other company. Nobody else has got this kind of science. Basically, what Dr. Dan said is he pulled out 8 of the 20,000 genes in our body. He pulled out 8, and he wanted to look and see what would the effect on these 8 genes from our products. So he took 4 of the products. He took Vitality and Revive and Eternal and Collagen, and he exposed these 8 genes to them. And lo and behold, he found great things. He found that these 4 products upregulate certain of those genes, or turn on certain of those genes, or downregulate or turn down some of the action of those genes. Now, if you remember in that slide, it said your DNA is what you are, you're stuck with it. Yeah. Not anymore, because if he's got the ability to show that we can regulate the expression of these genes, either increasing them or decreasing them, that's a home run. So let me just give you some exciting news about what's going on. There's a gene, one of these genes is called GLP-1. So as you drive around, you have seen billboards for semaglutide, Wegovy, Zepbound, Ozempic, all kinds of good stuff like that. Why? And then you'll see a circle on the billboard. It says GLP-1, because those drugs which you inject into yourself upregulate or turn on GLP-1, which helps us to stabilize our blood sugar and have a more consistent insulin production. Well, guess what else upregulates or stimulates GLP-1? Revive and Vitality. They do the same exact thing. That's amazing. And just think about that. If you can have a phytonutrient that's natural, that's got no side effects, do the same thing as a chemical, woo, it's huge. The other, some of the other genes are ones called IL-6 and NFKB. Those are genes with inflammation, and Dr. Dan has shown that our products downregulate or turn down the expression of those genes, which means turn down inflammation. So inflammation is a bad thing in your body, and when I see stuff coming out of macular degeneration that says we got to reduce inflammation, I'm thinking I want to shout this to the world. All you got to do is get on our products, which are going to reduce the activity of IL-6 and NFKB. So here I am in Hong Kong last year, And the New England Journal of Medicine, which I read every week, comes out with this wonderful article at Case Western Reserve University, which is where I just happened to do some of my training, but it had nothing to do with me. They did a study where they took carotid plaque out of the carotid artery. They did endarterectomy, or roto-rooter, to make it in common terms. And they took some of this junk and they sent it to the lab, and they asked the lab to analyze what's in there besides the cholesterol and the triglycerides and the calcium. That's what causes plaque or blockage. And lo and behold, the pathologists, the people who study this stuff, came back, and in 40% of the cases, it was loaded with plastic. Wow. Nanoplastic or microplastic. Now, if Dr. Dan can show, I don't think he can show this yet, but if he can show that Purify can get rid of plastic in our body, woo! Look out, that's amazing. But I don't think we can make those claims yet. But here's the exciting thing. So the pathologists found that 40% of the people with blockage had plastic, and in those people, their IL-6 levels were off the roof, up in the roof. The amount of inflammation they had was huge. So again, here we've got products that will downregulate or turn down IL-6. And then so I'm announcing this in Hong Kong with the New England Journal in my hand, and this nice fellow is translating to this big room of Chinese-speaking people. It was a sketch. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, another university studied coronary artery plaque. Same idea. They did endarterectomy, they did angioplasty, and they basically took out some of the sludge, they sent it to the lab, same thing, loaded with microplastic, nanoplastic, IL-6 levels off the roof. Well, that's good and bad. It's scary because that means we probably are all loaded with plastic, okay? But the good news is we can show now that IL-6 levels are high, and we've got products to bring down IL-6 expression. I tell you folks, if you haven't tried these products, you got to get on them, because as Dr. Timothy Schneider, who's the chairman of the Scientific Advisory Board, says, I can stand here and snow you with all the medicine and all the clinical studies and all the science. And then he says, but you don't care. You just want to know, does it work? And the answer, resoundingly, in 90% of the people who take it, is yes. Thank you. Sorry to go over, Samson. Lance, here comes Lance.
Awesome.
All right, Lance.
Great job, appreciate that. Awesome. You got all those long words down? You got them memorized? Now we're gonna tell.